Right here we're only 17 foot deep.
How much?
17.
Huh. Sandbar? So she's mad at me because I was picking on her. Because she's running the fork truck like she's never ran it before. She goes, I do this all the time, sis. I don't know why it takes many S's to tell me that. But I know how many she's going to use.
You don't pick them up if I drop them?
What? No, I'm not picking up if you drop them. It's the best way to learn how to drive a fork truck. Pick up your own mess. You won't drop near as many. Good buddy. Watch out, about the wazzle. Where are you going?
These cars, your fault. Oh my God.
You're like a typical truck operator. You're just sitting there complaining and complaining.
Move that car out of me. Move that.
You're more like Annie complainy panties. Why don't you fix it? All right. Good job. This is the stuff that's fun to watch. Did you get it figured out, bud? Watch your shitter. Okay, I want to show you all this because this is kind of leading into what I'm working on presently. This is footage from last year. Yeah, this is footage from the year of Corona, when Corona first came out, back when it was fresh. But we put this, see how I got that fresh steel that barn cleaner's running on? That's a barn cleaner. It's paddle chain. And it runs, what it does is it runs around the mill up top, up at the sawmill. And as the sawdust falls off of the head saw and the edger, that barn cleaner scoops it up and brings it around and dumps it on this belt you're seeing here, which is the resaw belt. So basically the sawdust all gets mixed together and took out and dumped in a pile out there behind my truck out there. Here's a transition. It wasn't perfect. I'm showing some things that didn't go quite right with the project. I should have put an angle on this chute to where it hit on the chute before it fell, and this here is a soft looking sawdust coming off the belt. That's kind of, satisfying to watch. Now this project went pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. What it was is we rerouted our barn cleaner and got it all set up and lined it with that steel that you seen the paddles running on earlier. But in doing so, and we had to change directions with the barn cleaner, and there's the head saw sawn. In doing so, we made ourselves a little problem. The edger, when it drops big pieces, it gets in the barn cleaner, and edgers drop big pieces. That's part of being an edger. That's the resaw there. It's sawing cants from the head saw. But part of the thing about an edger is it's edging them waning. You see how that wood's got, see how it kicked over right there by Tim? It kicked over to the right. That board's got wane on it, so it goes up to the edger to get the wane chopped off. In doing so, one of the necessary evils of the situation of edging is it drops splinters and stuff like that off of it. Well, them splinters get stuck in the barn cleaner and it kicks the chain off. Now, we dealt with this for about 6 months. We lived with it, and it was rough. It wasn't good. It wasn't right. and about once every week or twice a week, it would kick that daggone barn cleaner off, and they'd have to get down there and put it back on. So what I'm attempting to do is I got to put a grate in the edger to separate the big pieces from getting down into the barn cleaner, but at the same time not end up with something that there's a head saw, belts running a head saw. But at the same time not end up with something that causes so much grief that they can't keep the floor cleaned off. You know, the guys can't keep the floor cleaned off, the operators, to where it turns into chaos there. So it's going to be a happy median on the exact size of the grate that we need to put into the edger. And I'm going to let you ride around the barn cleaner here in a minute so you can take a full trip around the square. It's a square. And I'm not going to get back on here and talk, but at the end of this you'll see us follow up, and I'll take you, here it is going through, and at the end I'll take you up and show you, and here's where it drops off. I'll take you up and show you what I come up with as far as a grate goes on the edger to grate this off. Here's the edger. Just got done working today down here in the mill. Wanted to show you all a little bit of progress on the edger project. Now I'll get it with it running. Somebody may not be interested in this, but some of you might be, and some of you that's helped me on this project, I wanted to show you all so y'all could see how it's progressing. I made a scraper out of this. It's a concrete scraper, put an angle on it and they can reach out there to edge and can to scrape his grate off. He's got to scrape it off probably once an hour, once every 45 minutes, depending on the species. Now, that box had been blowing dust out everywhere, and we've been making a mess. Now, we have figured out this grate does work, the grate that I got in here. Let me get a light. Here's what I ended up doing, is building a grate like this, and it works. I got about a little over four, probably 4.5 inch centers, but I put sides on it out of mud flaps over here. See how this mounted in? So I'm keeping the sawdust in the box now, where it was spilling out and spewing out earlier, and so it's holding the sawdust in. And every once in a while, the edger man reaching here with this plastic, I don't think it's going to work. We're going to run it this week, but I think I'm going to have to revamp it. But I'll show y'all what it say every so often he'll just reach in there with this. Out here in the open, and then I'm hoping as the machine runs and sawdust drops, it'll drop them back out. But here's I think I hung them from too far in there, so when they reach up there to grab them and rake it out, they're getting longer and getting caught up in the grate. So I think what they need to be mounted is out here in a floor more, to where when they push in, they'll push past it. So it ain't much, but it's a start. It's a start to cleaning up the mess. Now this has ran for about 2 weeks. This has ran for about 2 weeks, and the guys at the mill said they think, you know, for the most part it's fixed as far as what we're after. They said they hadn't had one single barn cleaner issue since. But it's making a heck of a mess on the floor, so, which is good. I'm like, well, you know, now all we got to do is solve our mess problem, because we got what we was after, keeping the crap out of the barn cleaner. That is done, so now we got to solve our mess problem. So, but just a quick update, I'll jump back to you when the mill's running. We'll see what it's doing then. Big Mama, we're riding down the road, all excited, happy, yakking, and Big Mama just brings us this. See this lady with the peace sign on, and Mama says starts into this whole spiel. All right, tell them the spiel.
Okay, this is the deal about the peace sign. Everybody knows what the peace sign is. You know, it's a circle with the line kind of up and down, and then the upside down V down here. Okay, in 1958, I believe it was, they were getting ready to have a nuclear disarmament march in England somewhere, and anyhow they were going to march to this location where they stored the nuclear weapons and stuff, you know. So anyhow, the night before, this dude decides they need some kind of a symbol there, and he was aware of the Navy's flag system where they can actually flag out the alphabet, you know, letter at a time. So anyhow, he decides to make this circle. Yeah, thank you. Can you do that?
Yeah, here, let me get up here and get it where we're going slow. All right, go ahead.
This is not worth dying over. Anyhow,
we're moving 10.
Yeah,
we're driving 10.
If you take the 2 flags and you hold one straight up, one straight down, that's one of the letters. I can't remember if it stands for the N or the D. And then if the flags are like this at the inverted V, that's the other letter. So those symbols on the peace sign actually stand for ND, nuclear disarmament. And it was just one dude to come up with this. And the world went crazy over it. And we still, us hippies, still wear it on our t-shirts.
She's claiming she's a hippie.
A little bit.
I ain't never seen nothing hippie about her.
I take it back and I don't smoke dope. But I kind of have.
She has to have everything clean and organized. Total hippie. Now my wife's more of a hippie than you are. Her bathroom looks like a bomb went off.
Yes, but I love everybody and I'm always thinking big. And I don't take shit too serious. That's what makes me hippie.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, that part, yeah, that's definitely hippie. But mommy don't either. Yeah.
Peace, everybody.
Nuclear disarmament, ND. Oh, yeah. Okay, while we're having our trip to the woods and solving the world's problems, I told Joni, I said, if there's not a revolution in America someday that overthrows America, it'd be the first in history. And it would be. And Joni said, you're full of baloney. She said, I'll tell you why.
He starts into, well, it's these radical generals that raise up and all this stuff. And I said, people are hungry. They're starving. That's what brought on the Russian Revolution. That's basically what happened that brought Adolf Hitler to power. People got to be hungry when you got a revolution.
You said the blockade going into...
Oh, yeah. There was blockades and stuff going. Germany can't feed itself. It's not too many people, not enough agriculture around. So they have to import a bunch of stuff. We had a blockade up. The people were starved to death. You know, in Russia the same way. The people were starved to death. There was way more people, I think, starved to death in Russia anyhow than there ever was from the war. As bad as the war was in World War I, you know, we lost like 10 million soldiers and way more civilians than that, and most of them from starvation. So
yeah, the Russian
feed them unhappy people, and we won't have no revolution.
Yeah, I told her, I said, well, daggone, America's way too fat and sassy to have a revolution.
Hey, all we got to do is love each other and make sure everybody gets to eat.
And eat a sandwich.
Eat a sandwich.
Love each other and eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
No revolution talk.
The sacrifices we make.
People will never understand
They
what it's
do.
like.
They don't.
Come on, Pittsburgh! Where?
I'm on the way, and I want to be just like Babe behind the scenes when I grow